Friends and family, thank you for joining me here at the American News Network on May the 1st with Chris Sanders. We got May Day happening across the United States as people are really assembling, I've noticed, out in Los Angeles, and my heart does go out to the ones that are trying to save their friends that have been here for decades from Mexico, and understand in Texas and from California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, we've had a long history of working with our friends from the South, making us what we are, the land that has the best Tex-Mex in the United States. Okay, so we have President Trump. He's moving people around. People wonder why he's got an allegiance with MBS. Well, that's because without him, we don't have any gas. We don't have any tied into OPEC. But even though we have him, Houthis just gained 8 million soldiers, and all of Israel is on fire. And so, even though we have certain key people, we don't have the country, because Islam is thicker than a king's promise based off of banking. Now, one of the biggest things, and so understand there is a relationship between MBS and Trump, and he can reestablish things, and the tariffs are brilliant because we were fighting BRICS. And so the art of the deal has been to create the tariffs to destroy another currency that was going to make the United States currency worth toilet paper, because we don't even have gold in Fort Knox. So these are certain facts that luckily we have Trump for. And it's the art of the deal, the art of the steal. But I'm going to let you hear something that's amazing to me. And Kennedy was talking about this today. And what it is it's about the 300,000 children, that have been taken from us. He's hard to hear and understand, so here we go.
We have 38% of our kids are diabetic or pre-diabetic, and we are paying at both ends. We're paying for the food-like substances that make them diabetic. We have launched the autism study at your direction. By September, we'll have some of the first answers. Within 6 months of that, we will have definitive answers, not only for autism, but for the etiology of a whole range of autoimmune diseases that have become epidemic in our children. We have ended HHS as the role as the vector, the principal vector in this country for child trafficking. And during the Biden administration, HHS became a collaborator in child trafficking and for sex and for slavery. And we have ended that, and we're very aggressively going out and trying to find these children, the 300,000 children that were lost by the Biden administration. And we have ended funding for gender mutilation.
Okay, 300,000 children used for sex and gender mutilation. We need to prosecute these people for just crimes against humanity and these satanic people that have gone after our children. We have to protect our children at all costs. Thank you so much, RFK. He's going against so many things to think about. So thank you, RFK, for protecting our children. He just said that he had evidence for HHS being the primary vector for 300,000 children, and we know now that that number is 338,000. So there you go, and I wanted you to know what's going on. And we have to, like I said, protect the children. It's going on all over the place, and it's just not right. Let's get back onto something else here to see if we can stream okay, because I think we're having some problems, but let's see if we can. USS Harry Truman, we've been taking a lot of hits. I want you to understand that we were wondering how the Houthis were doing it. We know they were doing it from their assistance from China. Chinese have been moving a lot of satellites into outer space, making clones, the claw, everything they can so that they can test us. This is the Ukraine 2.0, except now, instead of Russia testing our gear, it's China. China's following us around, and Xi Jinping is either in the crumbling grasps of Trump's tariff wars, or we're going to fight him in a war. And China's crumbling, but they are being as aggressive as they can. So these next months will tell us, and even on Scripture, and is this the last pope? Because there's a lot of questions and people that wonder about that. Who will be this next pope? And can the Houthis really sink the USS Harry Truman aircraft carrier? Well, we could lay our thoughts down, and people try to gamble on what we think. But these are not our wars, and America really doesn't have an enemy over there. These are just Israel's enemies, and I think that it's becoming obvious. I want you to know that Marco Rubio was appointed as the head of NSA. So he is our Secretary of State and head of NSA. And that we have our old head of NSA, Mike Waltz, moving to the United Nations. So we have some things that are happening. And of course, even here we have U.S. State Department caught off guard as she's being even informed, and this is Tammy Bruce, as far as the fact that Marco Rubio is now our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and Director of National Security. And so that's what we got on now. We have other types of footage. I don't know if it'll actually show anything in what we want to see, but these are things that happened immediately. And of course, even as I've been given proper intel out here, I think that we should, have some people that are up to date on actually what's going on over there, and not just George Soros media. So we have Mike Waltz going to the United Nations, which is good. I talked about water to the United Nations. They have billions of dollars. They're not getting the lead out of their pants. They're not worth tits on a board. I say we seized their building and turned it into a VA in Manhattan. Okay, that's just my thought on those 2 cents. But HHS, wow. 349,000 children human trafficked, and we were the principal vector, HHS. I'm sure we're going to be hearing some stuff from Wonder Woman and Kristi Noem, but we need to find those children, and we got to get down to the bottom of the truth as far as what's going on. Mayday is going on. Also in Romania. Romania is taking a vote, and you're seeing the citizens of Romania forming an allegiance with Vladimir Putin. They see that he is more stable and kind of on the winning side of this all. So that's going on in Romania. It has an anti-EU NATO nationalist charge with a candidate named George Simeon, and he's leading the way. And that's just the way it's looking. So George Simeon, he's 38 years old, ultra-nationalist and vocal EU critic. Well, he's leading Romania's presidential rerun after the original vote was scrapped due to an alleged Russian interference. Backed by America First ideals, Simeon has vowed to cut military aid to Ukraine, challenged Brussels' influence, and even to restore Romania's 1940s borders. As tensions rise with NATO and the EU, Romania faces a pivotal moment that could redefine its future. Who will face Simeon and the likely runoff, and what's at stake for Europe? I would ask what's at stake for Canada, as we have a new prime minister up there that I would say has probably got the same type of history and friends as Jeffrey Epstein. Oh yes, he might be married to a man she a he-wife, a Big Mike, a Macron. Oh, I guess it's fashionable, these men that like to get together and destroy the world. Well, I think the book of Jude talked about it properly, but we see it going on, and we have George Simeon standing together, trying to get out this Nazi reinstatement that America's gotten behind. And so, come back home. Save the Mexicans that you remember, that you grew up with, and stop fighting these wars that are the civil wars of Russia, and also the seeds of Abraham's wars, as they see who should be blessed between Hagar and Ishmael and Sarah. Oh, who should it be? But let's not destroy America over this, please. And things that you should know about. It's not like Vladdy P and the KGB wants a truce. It's not like I think, Trump, that your landman deal is valid. No, you see, you're cutting a deal with Zelensky and his crew, but he's not even a president because he termed out. So what kind of theatrical play do you think that we're swallowing here for the world? No, see, I think if we were doing a mineral deed with the Ukraine, this is me giving you some landman advice, that you should have all the mineral owners there. And a termed out president would not suffice. They need to have an election, or you need to talk to good old Vladdy P. But then again, America does these jackwagon moves. And what do I mean by that? Well, let me tell you. You see, when we kicked out Saddam Hussein, when we went in there and we did that run, we could have wiped our debt clean there. In fact, we still can. Well, you see, because Saddam Hussein was the lessor, meaning the owner of that fuel was dead, and we could have sold that fuel to wipe our slate clean, rebuild their roads, rebuild their infrastructure, their universities, bring them into the modern day world, but we didn't do that. No, we're all about dismantling and destruction. Why? When did that become our modus operandi? Was it the BlackRock interference? Because I don't think they're great chess players today. Maybe before China and Russia united, but that's not the situation that we have with Canada, eh? So Canada has a jackwagon. Oh, he's liberal, he's a libtard. He's anti-Trump, he's proclaiming a war. Will there be a civil war? Will Canada accept its 50% plus tax with no protection? Well, we shall soon see. Anyways, Finland is on high alert. And I say this because your old Russia, just like Estonia, just like Slovakia, and all of the people that should be respectful to the bear, to Vladimir Putin, the colonel of Russia. We have a lot of amateurs. It seems like we have a lot of gay-ass amateurs going against the KGB. And he's going to laugh his way to victory while they drink some good old Russian vodka. This is what Israel and Jerusalem looks like right now. It's burning. It's on fire. What part of 2 billion Muslims do you not understand that hate breeds hate? Oh, with the pocket knife, they'll get you sooner or later. These are things to consider about hate, power, numbers. But all of Israel seems to be on fire. Jerusalem wildfires, and they have one arrested on suspicion of arson. IDF on Jerusalem. And this is going on right now with 120 some, all of their firefighters responding. Meanwhile, thousands of residents have left their homes, left their cars out on the streets, gone from safety because this fire is going everywhere, much like the Pacific Palisades, much like Maui. Oh, the property grab is on everywhere, I would say. And here it is, Israel 101. Everybody's picking a side as Israel burns. It even says, I think, in the Bible that Russia and China would come down from the north. And as I see sides being picked, I see China backing Pakistan, and I see the United States backing India. I would call that what? Chai Pak. Pak Chai. And Indi USA. Okay. But anyways, they don't like the way each other makes curry. One side wants vegetarian curry, the other side doesn't matter if there's some good old-fashioned chicken. You could throw it, even beef in there, as long as it's halal. But their kosher cousins don't know really what to think of all of this. And I want you to understand that they all have nuclear weapons. Aren't we glad? Can't we be glad and be joyous with it? Isn't this the culture that we want to invite into the United States with open arms as they get along well with each other so much? Or is it that culture of Jesus Christ and our way in which they savor to be a part of? Because they see that love that they've never seen before. And there's no greater love than someone that gave his life so that we could be saved. So our whole foundation is built on a rock that they don't understand. Because the light is not understood by the darkness. And the darkness can't really perceive the light. It is as much different as the sheep and the master's voice and the goats and the sheep. But I saw the chess pieces play with Kamala Harris and on one side and with Vivek and Vance on the other. And I could see that we would have a destined alliance with Modi and that he was playing a very articulate game as a prime minister. So Modi's always been very smart on his moves, especially with the way in which they've infiltrated into America through our hotels, lodgings, and 7-Elevens. I think Jack Wagon Joe used to point that out. But right now, it's a matter of whose camel is it anyway? Oh, dear, my goodness, friend, I do not know if it is his camel or his camel, but I think they want to blow us up because of a camel. I cannot get off my camel, my friend. And we don't need to get into a war over curry or camel. Not over here in America, I'm telling you. So that's basically it. And I think that we're stuck with India. Indian curry, that would be the vegetarian curry version of Hinduism. And I hope these two can get along. You see, to the Hindus, my message to you would be, you had Krishna, and he was reincarnated into the final Christ, and his name was Christ Jesus. And if you read the Quran, there's more about the Virgin Mary and Isa. But the Virgin Mary, she's all over, and her story is pretty magnificent as well. And it doesn't dispute Christ. It disputes non-believers. But the thing I want you to pay attention to right now is the fact that RFK just exposed that 300,000 plus kids were abducted by Health and Human Services in the United States, and that they were the primary vector. I want to repeat the primary vector. 349,000 children were abducted, sexually molested, taken by our own previous government led by Jack Wagon Joe, Secretary Anthony Blinken, Austin, Miley. Oh, this is more than just a high crime and misdemeanor. High crimes and felony and treason. Will we ever have accountability in the United States as my Boston Terrier snores? He'll probably fart too, but we're all sitting and snoring. Some of us farting, but the show continues. What kind of a show would that be? And we have a new bill coming out named after Nancy Pelosi and all of their insider trading. Should it be legal or should it be made where they should all resign for abuse of power? Congress needs to put a bill together to where Supreme Court justices cannot stay in office until they die. That is a clear abuse of power, and the people of the United States know it. And we demand a change. So I see our president going out getting peace, establishing peace, and Saudi Arabia is happy that the alphabet soup is out of the White House, just like you and I are. There is a happy allegiance between Christianity and Islam, but not the Democrat demonic sideshow. These are actually things that are happening right now. I'm hearing something about the IDF getting pretty desperate right now. Also, I've got footage of four IDF jeeps that have been attacked in Gaza that have been bombarded. Understand there are 8 million more for the cause and the side of Hezbollah. You can call them Hamas all you want. Scott Ritter, he's giving us a report right now that the United States troops are withdrawing from the Baltic. 100%, that's a good move. Let's get out of there. Let's let Putin do what he has to do. But if we're doing that, why are we doing a mineral deal without Putin there? Shouldn't he be the person who's signing the ink? Because Odessa was just destroyed yesterday and today. So what makes us think that we can do a deal with some unelected president that's a war criminal, that's just our puppet? This blows me away. This is where I think we need better politicians, but this is just a truth to consider as we press a military deal around and a mineral deal out of, with the Ukraine for oil and gas and aluminum with a guy that's not really even a valid president. But that's okay. We don't want to think about things, even the bizarre suicide deaths of Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who's 41 years old, but yet she was one of Jeffrey Epstein's girls that he used to rent out to people like, the royal family. So the family of Jeffrey Epstein's accuser, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, confirmed the 41-year-old has died. 3 weeks ago, Jeffrey posted on social media that she was in a bus crash and only had days to live, and since then there's been tons of public speculation about how she was injured. But supposedly she was killed north of Perth somehow, so if any of my friends and family down there, down under, can tell me, could you tell me a little bit of truth about what we're looking at down there as far as what happened to Virginia Roberts Giuffre? We just would like to know the truth as far as what's happening. And as far as my accent, that's courtesy of David Graham, who I was privileged to grow up around. So hopefully it sounds a little bit authentic to you. But we have this poor Sheila here that was murdered. And she used to be one of the Sheilas of good old Jeffrey Epstein. And it's always long-lived, especially if you've had Clinton on the same island with maybe Obama and maybe the new Prime Minister of Canada. Oh. So before he becomes maybe witness number 2, maybe a little off with it before that happens, eh? So anyways, that could be a speculation, and that could be the fact that we have a new prime minister that also visited that island, so Canada's new elite might want her gone as well as the United Kingdom's, because maybe they shared that bed to some extent. I wouldn't doubt it. Everybody's talking to me as far as the new prime minister has been and seen many young little Sheilas on Epstein Island. Let this sink in. Now, we have a Muslim intervention here in America, but I want you to know, did you know that Muslims were not allowed to hold any type of position in Congress for a long time? Did you know that? Bet you didn't. So, but Muslims can now run for office because on November the 18th in 1990, on the 101st Congress, they quietly repealed the McCarran-Warner Act of 1952, forbidding Muslims from holding office. Members of that Congress were Dick Cheney, John McCain, Joe Biden, Al Gore, John Kerry, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi. Architects of destruction, or what you would say, but this was all put together by people that are still in office till this day. Oh, they figured it out. To divide and conquer, to conquer the ballots, to divide the nation, to insider trade. The sheep have nothing to say. But on November 18th in 1990, the 101st Congress quietly repealed the McCarran-Warner Act of 1952, forbidding Muslims from holding office. And the members of that Congress were Dick Cheney, John McCain, Joe Biden, Al Gore, John Kerry, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi. I would give them VIPs at Guantanamo Bay. What would you say? Or would gravity and a rope just be a little bit too much? Or is our Constitution just not worth toilet paper? Speaking of people that are punks, we had an immigrant, Indian immigrant, come in, left a whole bunch of monkeys to die out there in one of his, medical experiment labs. Then he runs for Congress after being matriculated as a migrant in 1988. And now he's representing Michigan up there, and now he, like Al Green, are two of the vicious sidekicks that are going after my dearly beloved president. Well, I've said this once, so I'll say it again. If President Trump is your enemy, then you're my enemy, son. You're an immigrant, you come here and you disrespect our president. I say that we create a bill making it to where no immigrants, none of you bastards, should be Congress members or Senate. You can't be president, but look what you do. You come here, you run a monkey store, you abuse animals, and now you attack my beautiful president. This weirdo punk right here behind me. Look at what a punk weirdo he even looks like. I got friends from India, but you want to see a weirdo? This guy right here, warning, he is a weirdo. In fact, I think he looks like a Chester, not just a court jester. But this guy right here ain't worth tits on a boar, and he's a total ass clown. And you need to vote them out because, honestly, you've been here since 1988. You can't even give an impeachable offense. So you violated the Constitution because you can't read it. So why are you serving us if you're unable to read the Constitution? These are grounds to impeach, to silence this person. Do a recall. You need a recall, just like with old Gavin Newsom. I think Brock Pierce would be great for that position, but that's just my opinion. We also got Foster Farms and people that have run chicken places, I hear. But you know what? Zach, somebody I'd heard, even met the young man, but we got a couple of contenders out there. Contenders we have. But this war is on President Trump, and you did something with the puppet, but while you're talking to the puppet, Putin is getting down. Deadly strikes everywhere. So how could we be signing ink over precious minerals to a country that's currently getting bombarded? Just a question. I'm glad our troops are coming home, because Putin's going ballistic as the United States is signing a deal, so I don't think that our contract's going to be worth tits on a board. And if you need the American landman to go over there and talk to Putin, or even go over there and talk to him with Marco Rubio, I hear you're planning a trip. Well, you can pay for my services, and I'd be more than happy to help out the United States to see if there's even a deal on the table. But don't take my word for it. This is actual news that's hitting the wire right now, according to the wire. Oh yes, here we go. Is it true, America? Well, we don't know, but Marco Rubio. Marco, you damn right, Marco. I'm telling you, we're sending one of our best in. Well, Marco, if you need some backup, I'll be there to back you up. Just make sure there's some good old Kentucky Fried Chicken in Moscow when we get there, or have some Russians that show up. I know they all know how to cook. And is the United States breaking ranks with its unfriendly country? I wonder about this. Reports are swirling that the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, could be attending Russia's May 9 Victory Day parade today in Moscow. Boy, I'd like to go. I sure would. Marco! Yo! In my round flour, your round flour. I'll take the cuerte, amigo. Let's go. Okay, a historic amid raising global tensions. I have what? Mi gallos de gambate? Yes, I do have some fighting chickens. Why? Putin might like that. Hey, Putin, if you need some good fighting chickens, you know. El carnal, I am here to help you out. Mis huevos en tu manos, amigo. Okay, so what we have is a historic first among rising global tensions with the Chinese, the Vietnamese, North Koreans, and Kazakhstan troops already confirmed this surprise U.S. presence would flip the diplomatic script. Who can they send? Well, do you think that we could send Marco? Do you think he could say yes? It's pretty scary if he did. He is our Secretary of State. Our last one was a total liar. But this one's believable. Anyways, if you need any help, Marco, here I am. Reach out. And just remember, you're dealing with Vladdy P and the KGB, and they're there to win it. But he's changed Russia, the USSR, and now the beaches of Greece and Turkey and everywhere are littered full of Russian millionaires because he spread peace, equality, and capitalism. And he destroyed communism, and he stood up for Christ. And so we need to represent the light and not the darkness. Mis huevos en tu manos. So, the major enemy out there, if we have this opportunity to the world, and why I would gamble with it, is because our enemy is China. Taiwan's enemy, the Philippines' enemy. He's getting desperate. He's saying Trump and our own administration did the Wuhan. Oh yeah, are you also the guy that stole all of our patents, or was it our own United States government, Xi Jinping? Because the common denominator of crapola seems to be coming from you, amigo. Oh yeah, your communism sucks and you suck as well. I'm here for the death of communism, period. Because communism sucks. The death of communism happened with Vladimir Putin, and I congratulate you with that. Blood's thicker than water, and understand we might not have Saudi. We might not have Iran as they have this war with the seeds of Abraham. But something that I think that we have that I can stand on is a rock that's the cornerstone that was rejected. And that cornerstone of Jesus Christ stands with Russia and the United States. My name is Chris Sanders. Thank you for joining me here at the American News Network, major news network on Roku TVs. Please like, share, and subscribe, and bless everybody. Try to find the good in most everybody. But above all, love. Amen. And good day.